Would you please do the roll call of those Board of Education members who are present?
Certainly, Madam President. Trustee Townsend.
Present.
Trustee Fields.
Here.
Trustee Schindler. Trustee Gainsley.
Here.
I'm here. Trustee Goodrich. Vice President Lee.
I'm here.
President Hawkins.
Here. We have 6 Board of Education members present and 1 Board of Education member who is absent this evening. Next, that takes us to the Pledge of Allegiance. And at this time, I would like to invite the public and the Board of Education to join us in reciting of the pledge. I pledge allegiance of the United States of America, for which it stands, one nation, under God, and Board members, you will notice in your board packets that our item on our agenda number 3 is achievements, awards, and recognition. I would like to move our acceptance of the agenda up. You will notice that that is item number 8 in the agenda. And we have some adjustments that we need to make. Is there any objection to us moving the acceptance of the agenda up so that we can make some adjustments? No objections? Okay. So before we accept the agenda, which will be now become item number 3, I wanted to ask the board if it would be okay for us to switch the order of our closed session. So closed session number 6 would become closed session number 4 and vice versa. Is there any objection to that? Oh, perfect. And let me make sure there are no additional adjustments that need to be made before we take a motion to accept the agenda. And the last item that I want to make sure we make an adjustment on is to move up our public comment, because our closed sessions this evening, we're not sure how long they might run. And I think it would be wise to not let members of the public wait. And if we could move the public comment portion up, that would be great. Any objection, board?
No.
Okay, perfect. Now, with all of those adjustments, is there a motion to accept the agenda amendment as presented?
Madam President, Vice President Lee, move that the Board of Education accept the amended agenda as presented.
Thank you. A motion has been made by Vice President Lee. Is there support for this motion?
Trustee Townsend, support.
Supported by Trustee Townsend. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next, that takes us to achievements, awards, and recognition. And board members, you will notice in your packet that we have a sheet. We are so pleased that Points of Pride has returned. All of you probably remember that we would recite all these points of pride, and we would have students join us sometimes to just share a few words about all the great things they're doing in their schools. And their principals would be here as well. So at this time, we have points of pride that are being presented from Perry Early Learning Center. And I would like to ask that we start. You got it? We'll share. Okay, perfect. Okay. Does everyone have it? Perfect. I would like to ask Trustee Fields, do you mind kicking us off with point of pride number 1, please? And we'll just go around the table.
Oh, just reading it out, right? I don't have my glasses on. You would call me first. In the summer of 2021, Perry ELC hosted the first year of YCS Grizzly Learning Camp, including 7 preschool classrooms, 2 extended school year classrooms, 13 kindergarten, first grade classrooms, and 2 English language classrooms. Preschool through first grade students were immersed in themed project-based learning throughout the summer. A variety of the in-house activities were hosted, such as Creature Teacher, Dino Camp, which was Cranbrook Institute Museum, and Upland Hills Farm, as well as off-site field trips to Domino's Farms, Ypsilanti District Library, Ann Arbor Hands-On Museum, and the Black Lives Matter mural. Perry looks forward to hosting year 2 of the GLC this summer.
Point of pride number 2, high scope curriculum. In 2020, 2021, the decision was made to return to our high scope roots. The Perry project has been widely studied in the education world. The research proves that high quality preschool instruction has significant positive impact, not only on the lives of students who attend, but on their families for generations to come. We began training preschool staff in 2020, 2021, and by the end of the 2021-2022 school year, all preschool and kindergarten staff will be trained in high scope.
Point of pride number 3. Perry ELC teachers are participating in the Racial Equity and Discipline for Black Students project through Michigan State University. In this program, teachers will learn to improve their relationships with their Black students and reduce disciplinary referrals and suspensions. The project focuses on combining professional learning on racial literacy and empathy with the implementation of positive behavior interventions and supports, PBIS. The project consists of 6 sessions that last 3 hours each.
Point of pride number 4, NAPIT. We have amazing families at Perry. Our NAPIT celebration was parent-led. Perry families submitted pictures of how they engage their children in learning at home. Perry families showed how they read, cook, write, relax, and learn new languages at home. Lori LaRonda, or LaRonde, or LaRonde, collected family submissions, and a slideshow was put together by Rebecca Risky, or Rice, or Ricks, and shared out with the whole Perry community. Gift cards were donated from Target and Blackstone Bookstore and Cultural Center and raffled to families that participated. Point of pride number 5. In the fall of 2021, first grade students from Perry met weekly for Grizzly Junior Robotics. The theme this year was Cargo Connect, where each week the students would get creative and use their critical thinking and imaginations to explore how cargo is transported, sorted, and delivered to its destinations. On December 4th, the robotics team participated in the first LEGO League Explore Gigawatt Festival, presented their model and posters in front of reviewers, and reviewed the Model Design Award, which highlighted how our team designed a model that successfully showed the challenge they researched and their solutions.
Point of pride number 6, clubs and committees. Perry has many thriving clubs and committees which meet regularly after school hours. These include a PBIS committee, an archaeological dig club, a literacy study group, a staff appreciation and events committee, and a gardening club. Collaborating together based upon shared interests, staff members enhance Perry ELC by celebrating our school and district values, furthering our knowledge, recognizing students and staff successes, beautifying the Perry grounds, and strengthening our school committee.
Point of pride number 7, SEL Trails Lunch Club. At Perry, we strengthen our students' social and emotional learning skills by implementing the University of Michigan's Trails curriculum during lunch groups with our culture and climate coach, Lisa Murray. These lunch groups help students learn skills to navigate strong emotions, build healthy relationships, choose helpful behaviors, and make decisions effectively. These groups also incorporate concepts from conscious discipline, such as calming breathing techniques, and how to build SEL competencies such as self-awareness and self-management.
Thank you, board members, and thank you for the submission of these wonderful points of pride. Let's give everyone at Perry Early Learning Center a round of applause. Next, that takes us to the first public comment portion for this evening. And before we invite the first community member up, we would like to share the public comment protocol with you. Pursuant to Board of Education Policy 0167.3, the board recognizes the value of public comment on educational issues and the importance of allowing members of the public to express their views. Please limit statements to 3 minutes in duration. Participants shall direct all comments to the board and not to staff or other participants. No person may address or question board members individually. Remarks shall be made in a respectful and professional manner. Are there any members of the public wishing to address the Board of Education this evening? Seeing none, that takes us to, and then we'll be right on track with our meeting. Our first closed session, and at this time, is there a motion to go into closed session? And I would just ask, before I ask for that motion, I would just like to let the public know that the Board of Education has two back-to-back closed session this evening. And we will stay in this room so that we don't have to transition back and forth. And we would ask the public to leave the room and then come back once we reconvene to open session. At this time, is there a motion for a closed session? And that would be, the first closed session would be item number 6. Is there a motion at this time? Is there a motion at this time?
Item number 6.
Mhm. Well, we're switching 6 and 4. So we're going to do 6 first and then 4 will follow. So we'll reconvene to open session after that first closed session. We'll reconvene to open session and then we'll go back into closed session for
Oh, yeah,
item
I
number
think so.
4.
So this was previously labeled 6.
Say that again?
This was previously labeled 6. Just want to make sure I read the right thing.
Yes, that is correct.
Right.
Madam President, I move that the Board of Education go into closed session pursuant to Section 8F of the Open Meetings Act to review and consider the content of an application for employment.
Thank you. A motion has been made by Trustee Gazley. Is there support for this motion?
Madam President, trustee Fields, I support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. The time is 6:45 PM and the Board of Education is in closed session.
Madam President, will these mics go off? Okay.
Yes, Solomon is going to take care of it. Thank you.
And Julie was trying to get us back on.
Oh, we gotta turn on the Zoom.
We do. Unmute your mics, start your videos and unmute your mics.
Okay.
You back on?
Yeah.
And then we're going.
All right, got your camera back on.
It is, and I unmuted.
I had to make sure I got the chewing though. I was chewing this.
Are we good to go?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. The time is 7:03. The Board of Education is back in open session. At this time, is there a motion to go back into closed session?
Madam President, Vice President Lee, move that the Board of Education go into closed session pursuant to section 8H of the Open Meetings Act to consider material exempt from discussion or disclosure by state or federal statute.
Thank you. A motion has been made by Vice President Lee. Is there support for this motion?
Support, trustee Beasley?
Supported by Trustee Gaisley. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. The Board of Education is now back in closed session at 7:04 PM. Don't forget to stop your videos and mute your mics.
Yours did some, remember it did a whole update.
Uh-oh, I don't know, maybe Solomon.
You not putting that camera back up, Solomon? Mr. Solomon?
There's a camera showing here, so I thought it was the right camera.
Hey, what you need from me? I just didn't turn it on.
Okay, you gonna turn it on?
I am. Yes, thank you.
So Solomon, show me what else you. Or not.
Oh, you got one?
You still here, girl?
That computer?
Yeah, just on. So.
You still here? Oh, you just listen. So you walk down everybody's camera. Oh, Lord.
That's it. Yeah, because that's why we did that instead of me ending the YouTube stream. Because then you would have to restart the YouTube stream again.
Okay.
And that's just more of a hassle. It just.
Okay. So YouTube basically just got a blue screen,
A black screen.
a black screen.
It just says tech director the whole time. And it's like, I think next time with some more foresight, what we can do is have a background put up that says like closed session or something, but. Yeah, what can you do?
Did y'all get dinner?
Are you hungry now?
Well, I tried one of those sandwiches. They're super good.
Aren't they good? I know I had tried one too. I'm like, oh my God, those are good. Those are good. I had got a couple of them.
I know, I went back and got one.
You get your presentation.
They should have had some to go by.
Yes, they called.
Right?
Answered the question.
I'm behind my math.
When you're ready.
Oh, to start video?
Yes.
I will. After I'm done chewing. I can see it on.
So everybody left, huh?
It's
Huh?
only.
We
Yeah.
just had two closed sessions. I said, Anthony, we had some people, but I think they're gone. I'm sorry?
Yep, I'm gonna get this computer back up and running too.
Everybody, they left. They said, good job. No, no, get the phone. Oh, wait a minute before I put my camera on. Wait a minute, I'm stuck in my mouth and face.
We're gonna
Our
go.
mic's supposed to be
rapid.
open or?
If we go.
Supposed to be
Priya,
unmuted?
Priya's up there.
Board members, are you all ready? All right, we'll begin. We'll pick up at item number 9. We have our first presentation of the evening, and I will turn it over to Dr. Zachary Ross. And this presentation is the explanation of the millage ballot wording by Ms. Nyack. Dr. Zachary Ross.
Thank you so much, Madam President. As you know, we have a document item on the upcoming ballot, and we wanted to make sure that we share the information regarding what's on the ballot. It is our renewal of the operating millage. And we wanted to make sure that everyone understood what was the rationale, why is it on the ballot, and what it means for YCS. At this time, we have our CFO, Ms. Priya Nayak, who will be sharing a brief presentation.
Good evening, board members, Superintendent Dr. Zachary Ross, and Madam President. Thank you for giving me the opportunity today to present you our operating millage renewal information. In the state of Michigan, the districts receive foundation allowance per student for us to operate our schools. This foundation allowance is based on 2 funding sources. One, it's a combination of state aid that we get through every month, as well as the local tax levy. For YCS, we get $8,700 as a total foundation allowance. That $8,700 is combination of what we get from the state and what we get from the local tax levy. That tax levy is what the 18 mills that we are renewing the fund, this operating millage is all about. We receive about $5,404.85 per student from the state, and the rest $3,295 is we collect from the local tax levy that we have from the 18 mills that we have the township collect for us. The state presumes that every district in the state of Michigan receives this 18 mills, and they only pay us the $5,404.85. If we do not collect, state doesn't fill that gap. So we
Just making sure that that's covered.
all good. Since the state presumes that every district collects that 18 mills, we receive only the $5,404.85 per student through the state aid payment. Rest is on the districts to collect through the 18 mills. Now, who does this 18 mills apply to? 18 mills applies to the non-homestead properties, like the apartment buildings, rental homes, commercial and industrial properties, and so on. Since the state presumes that every district receives this funding, we as the district have put a ballot on the, that's not working. Solomon. So since the state presumes that every district receives this funding, we have put the ballot on the May 3rd election for us to get the approval for this funding to continue for YCS for the next 10 years. Our current approval expires at the end of December 2022. We are a summer collection. So for the next school year, for us to continue to collect at the 18 mills is the reason why it is on the May ballot right now. This millage helps us maintain the full operational dollars, that entire $8,700 per student for us to operate our district operations. The YCS receives approximately $11 million through this local tax levy. It helps us pay the school operations and maintenance, teacher salaries, supplies and materials for our students, transportation costs, as well as the Ypsi connected schools. And these are just few examples what this 11 million supports for YCS. There is no cost to the homeowners. This is not a new cost to the business owner. It is a renewal. We are simply asking for renewing the 18 mills that was initially voted in 2017. We had the initial 2017 vote was there for 5 years. Now that it is expiring, we are asking for the next 10 years so that we continue to receive the full foundation dollars for the YCS students. By law, YCS can never charge more than 18 mills. That's the highest. And you will see the 0.5 mills on the ballot. That 0.5 mills is a cushion. That is like a understanding between the township and the district, saying if there is a Headley rollback, we want to make sure the district receives the entire 18 mills. It is not, no, the business owners are not gonna get charged 18.5 mills. It's just understanding that district receives its all operational dollars of 18 mills. This is what you will see on the ballot, on the May 3rd ballot. I would like to take the time again to reiterate, there is no cost to the homeowners. It's not an increased cost to the business owners. It only will make sure that the YCS receives all operational dollars of $8,700 per student that we can use for our students, our kids. This funding cannot be replaced by any other funds. You will hear people saying, we have a sinking fund or we have received ESSER money. But all of those funds have a purpose and guidelines that we can use. We can't use our sinking fund dollars for the operational cost of the district. Same as the ESSER funds have ESSER requirements. So this operational millage money cannot be replaced by any other funds. We have several funds. We have general fund, debt fund, sinking fund. But again, none of those other funds can support the district operations. Each fund has a purpose and a guidelines to go with it. Recently, you would have seen in my board update that there was a bill 618 that was signed by the Governor Whitmer. This bill ensures that our interest rate on the loan, the debt fund, the money that we collect through our debt fund, that interest rate is going to reduce by almost 50%. What it means to YCS, it's a saving of over $1 million in the duration of the loan. For the next 7 years is what it will take us to pay that loan. We will save about $1 million in it. At YCS, we have always promoted savings. Last year, we did the revenue refinance, which allowed us to save another $1 million. This one will allow another $1 million, so this is a great news for YCS. So this leads me to my last slide. What questions might you have at this time?
Thank you, Ms. Nayak. I appreciate the numbers. Question is if this doesn't pass, then what?
If it doesn't pass, that means YCS will receive approximately $11 million less in revenue. That's our general fund money.
Okay.
So
Is that annually or over 10 years? Is that annually or full over the full 11?
Annually.
Annually. Thank you.
annually.
I just want to say thank you for the presentation. I know that the last time we had this millage on the ballot, it passed pretty handily.
Mhm.
But I think that this is a really important opportunity to educate people about how our schools are funded.
Mhm.
The funding situation in Michigan is weird. And a lot of people, even educators, don't know that our schools are not funded based on homeowner property taxes. So I appreciate the infographic the district has put together. This is just such a great educational opportunity and a brand building opportunity. I like all of the ways that you've highlighted our savings and the ways we're being fiscally responsible. One other thing that community members have brought to me is if we were able to create even just a very succinct piece of video that lays out some of the points that you made here. It's clear and simple. I know as a district, we can't say vote yes, vote no, but just to lay out the case as clearly and succinctly as possible and something that's easily consumed and easily pushed out by our partners who want to help us get the word out and make sure that people are making well-informed decisions on their ballots. I would love for us to be able to take some of this hard work you've put into communicating it to us and get it out to everyone else in a way that's really accessible. So thank you so much for all your hard work on this.
Absolutely. We also have FAQs on the website. So, if anybody wants more information, but we'll definitely look into the video.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for, that was well received.
I did want to point out what something Ms. Trustee Goodrich said. The one slide that breaks down the $8,700,
Mhm.
I think that's a very simplified way of showing people, I think that slide is very crucial. If we want to kind of share that
Okay,
in some way.
okay.
Yeah, because the only way we get to that 8,700 is the amount that they've already given us.
Yes.
And then the makeup is through the meals that we're entitled to levy. And it's good that you've laid out, it's not an increase to homeowners.
Mhm.
It is only an increase to, for example, the businesses that you laid out. I don't know what all the examples are, but it's not an increase to cost to business owners, but there was some, let me look in here and see.
And
So I want to make sure I'm not misspeaking.
yes, it is not an increase to the business owners. And it doesn't matter if you're a business owner in Ypsilanti, Saline, Ann Arbor, Novi, Northville, doesn't matter. Every school district levies 18 mills to the commercial properties so that they can receive that 18 mills as a funding. Because the state assumes that you're collecting,
Right.
they will only give you their portion of it. If you don't collect, it's a district loss. And
Wow.
that's the whole reason why we ask for that additional 0.5 mils as a cushion, just so that the district doesn't lose. And a simple example is if we didn't have that 0.5 mils, this year it went down to 17.92 instead of 18 mils. Because of that 0.5 mils, we were able to collect the entire 18 mils. So
Okay.
Great, and just like Trustee Thompson and Trustee Goodrich were saying, it's having something, but when you first asked her, what's that loss? Yeah, we can look at it in the small as far as 8,500, but it's a big picture. Let them know that if you vote no,
Mhm.
this is how much we lose as a district. It's one thing to see it in small as the 8,700,
Mhm.
but when you put in a bigger picture, what you had stated earlier, I think that's gonna be crucial as well, like having that somewhere to say, vote or no we could lose this amount
yes,
of money for, as a district.
Mhm.
absolutely.
Oh, and I would even add on to that and say, this is what is going to make us whole.
Yes.
This is what is going to make our students
Yes.
our community and our schools whole is this
Mhm.
$8,700. This is what we need
Yes.
to continue to support students
Mhm.
educationally in our buildings. And so it's the apartment buildings, rental homes, vacation property, vacant land, commercial, industrial property. That's the non-homestead properties that get assessed.
Yes.
I just wanted to echo, I appreciate the presentation, but I think the point that I didn't understand until tonight is that 0.5 increase is only levied if there's a decrease, right?
Not, so what happens is township levies 18 mills.
Yeah,
If we don't have that 0.5 mills written into our agreement on the ballot voted, if there is a Headley rollback, like this year, we had
Yeah.
17.92, township will only give you 17.92, not 18 mills.
right. So in this case, because the 0.5 is there,
Yes,
instead of 17.92 mils, it would levy 18 mils. But at no point are we ever going to levy 18.5.
no,
So that was the thing that I hadn't understood. And so I really appreciate you clarifying that because
yes.
folks were asking if it was a tax increase to businesses. And so it is not an increase.
No.
No.
Great. Thank you.
This is an excellent presentation. Ms. Nyack, you've worked hard on this, you and the rest of your team. So thank you so much. And we've got to make sure we get the right information out there so people don't think they're getting any more taxes added to their
Absolutely.
because it's not. It's just for our kids, our schools, and our communities. That's it.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. Any other board questions, comments? Thank you, Ms. Nyack.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, that takes us to it looks like our first action item of the evening under student affairs. And that is the acceptance of a field trip request. Is there a motion at this time? I guess before we take a motion, Dr. Zachary Ross, would you like to say a few words just about this exciting field trip?
Yes, thank you, Madam President. Board, as you remember, last past board meeting, we had Chef Gardner come and our students were getting ready for a competition here in the state for this long-range opportunity. And with that first competition, they were able to get scholarships to attend a culinary school. And beyond that, if they scored within a certain area, they would then be able to go to a national competition. Our students scored in the top 10 at that competition. They have started off with $10,000 scholarships. What is going to happen now is upon this approval, they will attend the field trip to the Houston, Texas Johnson Space Center to do the NASA Hunt Culinary Challenge National Championship. And with that, they will be working to provide a menu for the astronauts based on very stringent guidelines. They will present their research, their food choice and preparation, and all the nutritional background, and be able to compete with districts all over the nation. Upon winning that or placing in that, these students are eligible not just for the program to have recognition, which we are very proud of Chef Gardner, but these students are competing for full ride scholarship. And so we, with the board's approval, we wish them the best, because this goes with the ProStar Education Foundation, the Michigan Restaurant Association, along with the full American Culinary Federation. So it's putting them in a space that they are competing with those culinary programs all over the United States. And it gives them exposure to even the universities beyond Michigan.
Thank you, Dr. Zachary Ross. Is there a motion at this time?
Madam President, Vice President Lee, move that the Board of Education approve the overnight field trip of the Ypsilanti Community High School Culinary Program to Houston, Texas in April 2022 for the NASA Hunt Culinary Challenge National Championship.
Thank you. A motion has been made by Vice President Lee. Is there support for this motion?
Trustee Townsend, support.
supported by trustee Townsend. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next, that takes us to our consent agenda. Is there a motion at this time?
Madam President, I move that the Board of Education approve the March 14th, 2022 regular board meeting minutes and personnel matters as per the presented list dated 4/7/2022, new hires, resignations, and retirements.
Thank you. A motion has been made by trustee Gaisley. Is there support for this motion?
Support trustee Goodrich.
Supported by trustee Goodrich. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next, that takes us to our discussion item under number 13, the second reading of our Neola policy updates. As the board recalls, at our last board meeting, we had the first reading of these Neola policy updates with a lot of background as to what updates will be made to our policies. The second read is an opportunity for the board to ask any additional questions. And later on the agenda, we will be voting to approve the policy updates. At this time, is there any discussion or questions about the second reading of the Neola policy updates?
I have one quick thing. I don't think this actually rises to the level of a policy change, but I know a lot of our discussion around the policy in the subcommittee was around public comment. And one thing I was curious about, again, I don't think it needs to be policy, is whether we could put somewhere in our opening for public comment, something about our practice as a board. I don't know if it's strictly a policy of not making immediate response to comments, just so to help with the expectation for folks who come and are excited to be engaged, but maybe aren't familiar with the way public comment works in our meetings or public meetings generally. If that might be a small piece we could add to the introduction to our public comment session. Again, I don't think it necessarily belongs here, but I know that we had a lot of comment-related talk around policy.
Okay, thank you, trustee Goodrich. And I'm just thinking out loud about how we might handle that. So I'll give that some thought. We could even say something, it's not the board's practice to respond. We typically follow up as people who come and speak during public comment time. We follow up with them, thanking them for their participation in public comment time after the board meeting. So I have made a note of that. Thank you for your comment. Any other questions or feedback from board members? Seeing none, that takes us to item 14, which is our next presentation, Board of Education workshop. I'll turn it over to Dr. Zachary Ross at this time to introduce Mr. Rose.
Thank you, Madam President. Mr. Rose has been working as the Director of Operations and Facilities to ensure that we really utilize our buildings adequately. He has some recommendations and information that we want to make sure the full board is aware of. He has brought some of these items to the subcommittee, in which is informational purposes, yet we want to make sure that as we're moving forward and being responsible as a district, that we are sharing some of the findings that we've had this school year with the full board. Mr. Rose.
Thank you. One of the conversations that we wanted to have today was around our buildings, and in one of our previous conversations, we talked about occupancy and things of that nature. So I've shared with the subcommittee a comparison of some of our buildings, and one of the outliers that came out in that comparison was George School. The biggest outlier in there is cost of operations specific to HVAC. And we are there mainly because of the age of the building, the age of the equipment, and some of the mechanical constraints that we have with that building. It runs on pneumatics, which is all air, and we just don't have the controls, even through the work that you guys have allowed us to do with Honeywell and Train to put in building management systems. We still have mechanical limitations in that building. So I wanted to lift that. And Since this has been placed on the agenda, we've even had more opportunity that I want to come back and share. So I just want to plant a seed tonight and come back to you in either another study session or in a full board meeting. We have been blessed to work with DTE in their Energy Manager Pilot Program. So free of charge, DTE allows us to work with one of their engineers and really their full team to better learn about the facilities. And so they're going to be doing a complete audit of our district to get us really granular information about our buildings. And the first building that they're going to tackle will be George School. So I'll be in a position to share additional. A lot of this information has been shared in the board updates, so you've been privy to that. I'll make sure that in this week's board updates that you get the snapshot to date, and that you get the information that will be following from our DTE energy audit. So it will really complement the 2013 facilities audit and bring that up to date and get more granular with the cost of operations, specifically with our gas and with our utilities, gas and electric. What questions may you have? So, like I said, more information to come. We were super excited when we started talking more with our energy manager to learn about the opportunities of the full building audit. And so it'll really put us in a position to make data-informed decisions in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rose. Next, that takes us to action item number 15, and that is our Neola policy updates. Is there a motion at this time?
Madam President, I move that the Board of Education adopt the Neola policy updates as presented, volume 36, number 1, September 2021.
Thank you. A motion has been made by trustee Goodrich. Is there support for this motion?
Madam President, trustee Fields, I support.
Supported by trustee Fields. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next, there is a motion for approval of employment. Is there a motion at this time?
Madam President, I move that the Board of Education approve the district's employment request.
Thank you. A motion has been made by trustee Gaisley. Is there support for this motion?
Trustee Townsend, support.
Supported by trustee Townsend. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next, there's the acceptance of the YCS paving project for Ford Early Learning Center and Holmes Elementary School. Is there a motion at this time?
Madam President, trustee Fields, move that the Board of Education accept as presented the best paving proposal for Ford Early Learning Center and Holmes Elementary Schools paving project in the amount of $319,000.
Thank you. A motion has been made by trustee Fields. Is there support for this motion?
Support, trustee Goodrich.
Supported by trustee Goodrich. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have the acceptance of the AE asset bill. Is there a motion at this time?
Madam President, I move that the Board of Education accept as presented the due solutions proposal for the final component for the district inventory project in the amount of $81,494.
Thank you. A motion has been made by trustee Goodrich. Is there support for this motion?
Support Vice President Lee.
Supported by Vice President Lee. Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next, that takes us to the acceptance of the district-wide video upgrade. Is there a motion at this time?
Madam President, I move that trustee Fields move that the Board of Education accept as presented data image quote for the interactive flat panels and long throw projectors in the amount of $1,429,704.
Thank you. A motion has been made by trustee Fields. Is there support for this motion?
Support trustee Gainsly.
Supported by trustee Gainsly. Any discussion on this item?
Yes, please. Vice President Lee, could I get a little information on this, please?
Yes, we'll have Solomon Zhang come up. We know that this is part of our ESSER funds. We certainly know that the speaker system, our projectors have been experienced a lot of replacement. And we are certainly in a space where we are shortened and by the classroom instruction, but Mr. Zhang has the specificity in this project.
Thank you. So thank you, board, for considering this. We know, looking around the district, well, a lot of our classrooms have older projector units and short throw projectors that are just aging out. We're running out of, it's finding it difficult to find replacement parts. And we're finding that even with a new bulb, which we can replace fairly easily, we are running into units, things like fans are breaking down where the heat exchange doesn't work. And so this would be a sweeping way to upgrade all of the video projection units around the district, as well as providing not just interactive boards in the classroom, which are just, the TV tend to outlast a projector. There will be power savings there as well versus a projector, but also having some long throw projectors in some of the bigger spaces so that we can continue to do parent meetings and those kind of things without having to, drag a little board in, and having people, being difficult to view the presentations and those kind of things as well.
Is this in all the schools?
Yes, the scope of the project is for the all of our buildings.
Okay.
This really does enhance, now that we're a one-to-one district, we know that our classrooms were not set up before COVID to be able to have this opportunity. Now this does put equity across the district. It also supports, right now we have masks. We don't know how long that will be, but it supports the teachers and being able, with the audio, being able to have that opportunity, as well as if in the future, if we have some of those blended spaces where some students are not in school or in school, we know this really worked. When we talk about the culinary students, they were still watching Chef while he was in the classroom and they were outside. So this provides us the space to be flexible in terms of being able to provide instruction in the event of any of these things happening in our future as well.
Great, thank you.
Any other board discussion? Thank you, Mr. Zhang.
You're welcome.
A motion was made by trustee Fields, supported by trustee supported by trustee Gainsly. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next, that takes us to the acceptance of the security camera upgrade for the Willow Run Complex and Chapel. Is there a motion at this time?
Madam President, I move that the Board of Education accept as presented the convergent quote for the security camera upgrade for the Willow Run Complex and Chapel project in the amount of $278,500.15.
Thank you. A motion was made by trustee Goodrich. Is there support for this motion?
Madam President, trustee Fields, I support.
Supported by trustee Fields. Any discussion on this item?
Yes, please. Vice President Lee would like to ask, please, for the Willow Run complex, is that the whole complex?
So there's, if you can recall, thank you for the question, Vice President Lee, that we've been doing video upgrades and camera upgrades. There's been spaces that we have found that there are gaps in the original proposal. So we've seen over time that we've been covering these spaces. This does cover those. Look, I got two people standing there. I'm sorry. Would one of you like to respond? I'm looking.
Vacant
wonderful.
buildings are the buildings that are currently in use are some of the most difficult to monitor. And so I recently responded at 1:30 on a Saturday morning or Sunday morning, Saturday night, two individuals swimming in our swimming pool.
Oh,
So I currently have one of my cell phone trail cams out of the woods that usually is taking pictures of deer right now. And it's monitoring currently our swimming pool. So we're compromised in some of those areas, and Solomon's proposal will fill in those gaps and put us in a much better position from a liability standpoint, and then the safety of responding. And then once that building is educational use, then the safety of our students and staff will be.
So that's gonna be inside and outside, Ken.
He can speak to the scope.
Okay.
So the scope of the project right now is focused on the entryways and the interior use of the building. Right now, the exterior is, as you guys, it's a vast building, and so we will need a separate walkthrough at a later time to really look at every exterior use of the building. Right now, the main focus was on the interior of the building to make sure that the doors, we always know who's incoming and going, and the project is encompassing and projecting for the educational use of the building. So we're looking at all the hallways, and the nooks and crannies and the stairs and all of those things.
Okay, great. And then chapter, okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Rose and Mr. Zhang, and thank you for your question, Vice President Lee. A motion was made by trustee Goodrich, supported by trustee Fields. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next, that takes us to a donation of 4 musical instruments to the Ypsilanti Community High School Band Program. Is there a motion at this time?
Madam President, I move that the Board of Education accept a donation of 4 instruments to the YCHS band program with the approximate value of $1,200.
Thank you. A motion was made by trustee Goodrich. Is there support for this motion?
Trustee Townsend, support.
Supported by trustee Townsend. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next, that takes us to a donation of books for our second graders. Is there a motion at this time?
Madam President, I move that the Board of Education accept a book donation for our second graders of the book, The Planet We Live On, with an approximate value of $3,400.
Thank you. A motion was made by trustee Gaisley. Is there support for this motion?
Support Vice President Lee.
Supported by Vice President Lee. I believe Dr. Zachary Ross would like to at least share a little bit about this donation. So I'll turn it over to her before we move to the next agenda item.
Thank you, Madam President, and I know this, typically the board asks questions and things, but I see Randy Trent here in the audience, his wife Shanda, I knew it wasn't an R in there. Shanda Tripp was here earlier. She wrote this book. She also has connections to the Earth Day Science connections to the classroom, and has donated these books, and they are residents in our area. So not only do we have the donation, but we have the author here who's going to be working with our second grade teachers. So this is a gift that just keeps on giving. And so I wanted to give you that background that not only are the staff and students receiving the books, but they're also receiving that author connection and connection with our science lessons. So I know you're still in the middle of the vote, but I just want to give you that background. And each one of you have a copy here, signed here by the author.
Fantastic. Thank you. Okay, I'll recap.
Sorry.
A motion was made. No, that was a great interruption to our motion. A motion was made by trustee Gaisley and supported by Vice President Lee. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you to whoever donated the 4 musical instruments. It was, let's see, community member William Crosby. So a huge thanks for the musical instruments and the donation of the books for our second grader, Randy and Shonda Trent. Thank you so very much for this generous donation. Next, that takes us to our second public comment portion of the evening. And are there any public comment cards that have come in? Thank you, Ms. Haynes. All right, thank you for checking for us. Okay, that takes us to our discussion item. We are at number 19. Are there any Board of Education subcommittee reports at this time?
I just have a quick one from WASB. So I just wanted to share out publicly the results of last month's organizational meeting of the WASB, Washtenaw Area School Boards. And we have a new slate of officers. So our officers for the next year are past president is Michael McVeigh of Saline, president is Jessica Kelly of Ann Arbor, vice president Thomas Rollins of Lincoln Consolidated, Legislative Relations Network, Kirsten Freight of Milan, and Secretary Treasurer Janice Townsend of YCS.
Thank you for your service in representing YCS. Any other Board of Education subcommittee reports at this time?
I have a report. The facilities and Operations Committee did meet and had a conversation about quite a few of the items that we have already discussed during this meeting. One of them being the changes to the George School and the opportunity, the high energy costs there, and some concerns about the age of that building. Some potential some tenant concerns across the district. And so that is the update. I don't have a ton to share there because I think a lot of it has been shared with the entire board during this meeting.
Thank you, Trustee Gaisley, and thank you, Trustee Goodrich. Any other subcommittee reports?
I don't
Yes.
have anything to report, but I would like to have some to report, but I'm curious about when our community group is going to be meeting. I don't know if anybody has any background on that, but I would like to know.
presentation, all these P's. For my sorority, Baptist Student State Sorority Incorporated, and it was just a moment to be proud, to watch them talk about how to become elected, the whole process, to clarify information for those who are interested to seek office. It's just important. I know last month we talked about just the women in leadership here, but just the fact that board members on our board just continue to lead the way, to be a part of the community, and the fact that they saw two of our board members, there were board members from other districts, but for us to have two just really made me proud. I just want to thank you both for sharing, and I'm just answering with such clear, concise answers, and really had people thinking about running for this important seat. And so it's just important for us to think about the importance of this office and the fact that our board members take their roles very seriously. Just a final reminder that this Friday for our students is a half day because of professional development. There's no school on Monday for our students and staff. This is the comp day that's built in the calendar for staff doing parent-teacher conferences. And so for them staying late, and so that is no school. So it's a long weekend for families. So if they go to the wonderful Hancock, they have some rest that they can have. And our students, on a serious note, our students do need rest this week. We started state testing for our elementary MSTEP and then secondary PSAT. And our SAT is coming up, so it is important that our students come to school this week. I know it might look like a disjointed, especially depending on the grade levels, because we only have those who are coming in for testing, for example, in the middle school, so that it can be a testing environment. So get some rest, come to school, eat some good breakfast, and focus on our testing, and then there's a relief afterwards. So the union really works closely with us to create these calendars, and thank you, Trustee Gaisley, for making sure that we lift that up. We will add that to the website along with the board meeting date change. It's just important that students come to participate in the testing. We know that is sometimes challenging for our students, and just know that that reprieve is coming Friday afternoon and on Monday for them to have rest. And I just again want to thank our amazing teachers, staff, all kinds of staff, everybody. We keep saying everyone here are educators in their own right, in their own way. And we know that as we end the school year strong, we need every single one of them to join with us to support our students. If you think about how instruction was the last few years, it's not been that the stamina hasn't necessarily been built up over time. So if students are feeling a little bit tired, and we know even parents, think about the last 2 years, the stamina of making it till June, really pushing through without, we had some interruptions before. And so it's not something that just is psychosomatic or in someone's mind. This is a true rebuilding of the stamina. And so as Trustee Gansky talked about Grizzly Learning Camp, we're excited about Grizzly Learning Camp starting June 20th. So there is some time in between, but June 20th to August 11th, being able to come back, to stay engaged, that might really help with the stamina. So we invite you to participate this year in that Grizzly Learning Camp. There are wonderful, wonderful opportunities. Looking forward to them participating in. We'll be utilizing Perry and the Willow Run campus, so that's going to be exciting, and our high school. And so there is a wonderful planning happening behind the scenes for our students. So we'll have that application coming out soon, so that the application helps the parents decide on which sessions. We're going to accept all who apply. We just need to know which sessions so that we can be staffed, so we can have our food ready, transportation ready. And so please, when we get that application out, turn it on in so we can make the plans and be prepared for our amazing scholars to come and experience another wonderful Grizzly Learning Camp. Thank you, Madam President.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Zachary Ross. And I have two other just really quick things. The first one is next Wednesday. I believe that date is April the 20th. Ms. Cash and both Ms. Rose have been wonderful in working with some of our EMU student school social work interns to make possible a career day for our middle school students. So we will have a career day event where we are inviting business leaders, employers to come just talk to students about their career paths in the community. And specifically, we want Ypsilanti Community High School, although it was public school, probably at the time when they left, to be present. So we've got a lot of interest, and we have people who are secure to be at the middle school. And then we'll have an evening event for our parents and their families that will take place at the high school as well. So it'll be a nice event. We'll have food for everyone. And we'll have some nice giveaways for people who come to over those events. So I just wanted to give a shout out to my wonderful interns at EMU in my other role for working collaboratively with the students to make that happen. And a special thanks to Ms. Willis and Ms. Cash for supporting them in that. And lastly, I just want to say thank you to Ms. Hayes and thank you to Ms. Houston and her team for making sure that the board had some lovely snacks this week and some nourishment, because we've been here for hours. So thank you so much. And then I was just saying for everybody who's left here, please take some food home. Eat here, whatever you want to do. But there's a lot left. And thank you, Dr. Zachary Ross, for the putting obviously having the option. Yes. Anything else? The time is 10:12. This regular board of education meeting is adjourned.